Price for everything in Singapore has increased. Transportation increase, food and drink increase, they can't even afford a decent cup of tea. School fees also increase, grocery prices have increased, property tax increase, and also the GST increase to 9%. Except pay has not increased and some even decreased, and many families are still struggling with their life. How are we able to live like this? But my humble advice is just leave.
What?
If you compare this with other countries, things are still the same and many even are worse. Some Singaporeans are simply myopic because they can't open their eyes and their mind to see the world, but just listen to many oppositions spewing nonsense that the government is greedy and suppressing Singaporeans by increasing the cost of living. Very ironically, what I've observed is that the opposition's teams are doing something that is very toxic to Singaporeans. They could purposely go pay a visit to some people living on the streets and post them on social media of how pathetic their living situation is. What they are doing by visiting the so-called homeless is nothing but just a shameless act. They are using the short-term situation to propagandize to fool people who are still foolishly supporting them. Those shameless creatures are just propagandizing by giving some people bread or some K-pop, and then without any of those people permission, they shamelessly could put their pictures and posted them on social media to further propagandize and cause the public to hate the government. They and their propaganda. This is really an act of pure hypocrisy, and their supporters are simply duped by them. Those people are just trying to cause a separation among Singaporeans by spreading all kinds of half-truth. This is how the government under the tyrannical PAP has caused the Singaporeans to become so miserable. Let's united vote PAP out in the next election, Singaporeans. Whereas what the PAP government is doing is for the poor by increasing the cost of living is more practical and logical. Singapore is a very small country, but it's a kind of a city like New York in the US. However, within the US, the Americans can choose to go to some even cheaper places to stay, example Tennessee. But in Singapore, it's impossible because it's a very, very small country and there are rich and poor people cramming themselves together. This is why prices on things, especially food, has to increase because we have the rich people around who are camouflaging easily with the common people. Many rich Singaporeans are still sharing the same common food and same common facilities and even same common transportation with the common people, and they are simply taking advantage of it literally. Moreover, we can't even know whether they are rich because the way they wear is also very common. Some of them could wear a very cheap t-shirt with a very simple shorts and slippers. Thus, because of them mingling with us, cost of things have to increase so that those rich do not take advantage of what the common people are enjoying. When we are in a common coffee shop, they are there in disguise eating the same food with us, but when they are back home, they will enjoy their home made of ivory. Do we really want to see the rich enjoying $2 chicken rice that we used to enjoy before, or even taking free public transport? And that will be very unfair. In the New York situation, it's very obvious to see a big gap between the rich and the poor. But the difference if we compare to Singapore, the Singapore government has a situation under control. By increasing the cost of living, the government is able to get the money from the rich and siphon it to the poor by giving GST rebate, tax relief, housing subsidies, social care benefits, school fees subsidies, medical subsidies, and many other things if you know how to ask for it. Sound like Robin Hood, take from the rich and give to the poor. In Singapore, even how poor the person is, like those handicapped ones we see, they could even have an electronic wheelchair, big equipment anytime. This is how Singapore's system works, striving to make a balance between the rich and the poor in a very small country. As a matter of fact, Singapore should be a good place for the poor to live in. If you live in some other countries like the Philippines, that you think the cost of living is low, and yet you want to live the same way as you in Singapore, the expense over there can be even higher and the quality is very bad. The hospital bill over there is a rip-off, and there are many Filipinos who hardly get any good medical subsidies and basic treatment from the government. Adults and children are suffering in the Philippines, and the government is just watching them die. I know this because I lived there before and live in some other countries too. The common people in Philippines, even in Indonesia, And even in many parts of Malaysia, took rice more than meat and vegetables for their daily living. Breakfast rice, lunch rice, dinner rice, supper also rice. Can you imagine how boring their lives are? Yet in Singapore, we still want our nasi lemak to come with chicken wings, eggs and otah. Do you get what I'm saying? Remember to subscribe, like and share. See ya.